Hello and welcome.
The official... Well...
Oh, I'd fancy meeting you here, partner.
I didn't think we'd be butting heads like this.
Yeah, please, I'll extend my way here. I'll let you take the lead, by all means.
Yeah, Scram Buster, I got this one.
Yeah, you won't win next time, you. I'll be back.
Yeah, get out of town. It's the official podcast. It's meant for only real men, which Andrew is not. He folded too easily. He's the beta.
True, that's true. Went with my tail between my legs, put my gun in my holster, drowned my sorrows, watched a man fuck my wife. I've done it all in this one intro. It was very dynamic and incredible. And now Charlie's going to wrap it up with a bang.
Hey, that's the bang.
There was a lot of information then. You dynamically let your wife get fucked by a guy. What happened?
Yeah, there's a lot to take in there, to be honest. That's one of those situations like in the Hey Arnold where he's like, don't hit me, I'll hit me, and you just kind of scare the other guy away.
Oh yeah, the one where he pretends to be crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened this week? Does anyone have anything? Nothing interesting happened to me at all.
Yeah, this week was
No
pretty
funny
low-key. Yeah, I can't think of anything too crazy that happened this week.
Is this just the Elden Ring waiting room by this point?
Honestly, yeah, I'm replaying Elden Ring. That game is still a masterpiece. That's got to be one of that actually, like, objectively has to be one of the best games ever made on every scale.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's so fucking good, man.
Do you think people would agree with that? I've been thinking about this a lot recently, kind of like the it's not fetishization, but like the worship of Japanese game studios. Would you guys think that if like Ubisoft made Elden Ring, like a one-to-one version of Elden Ring, do you think it would be as well received as like it is now?
I think so. I don't think the studio itself has anything to do with it. It's just they put out such quality games that they've earned that prestige. Like if Ubisoft made this game and it was exactly as it is right now, I still think it'd be received the same way.
The problem with that sentiment, Jackson, is that if Ubisoft made the game, it would not be exactly as it is now. They would fuck it up with so many things like skins or tacked on day 2 DLC or 100 different things. Battle Pass, online multiplayer slapped on that doesn't work. Like, there'd be a million ways they'd fuck it up, and they 100% would fuck it up if they did it.
Yes, they did.
And Japanese developers, they just know, like, my friend was showing me news about the new Nintendo Switch Direct, I guess, that's about to happen again. The last one in this year, maybe. Or so the rumors have it. It's like Western developers really don't get that. All Nintendo does is develop 2 or 3 games per decade, but they're so polished that they carry a crummy console for like 10 years straight. Yeah, and everyone still buys games by the end of its lifetime. It's so insane. And then you look at Western developers. Jackson was showing me screenshots from the new Dragon Age, the Veilguard.
Oh my
and it's
God,
such fucking Fortnite-brained, hyper-stimulation bullshit on screen that...
It looks like a mobile game.
Does anybody have the screenshot? Let me... It looks like a mobile game with so many little doodads and buttons to press on screen, and there's just so much shit going on, and yet there isn't. And the art style is such hot garbage where people were zooming in on the ogre thingy. Yeah, the ogre monster, and just looks like the goof. It looks like a fucking Simpsons character almost. It looks so fucking dumb. And they all have Fortnite face.
Big bright red eyes, just like really cartoonish, like character style. When you go back and look at like the ogres or the whatever they're called back in like Dragon Age Origins or even Dragon Age 2, really, they had more of a like a grounded grimdark art style to them. Whereas now it literally looks just like a mobile game. It is such a cartoonishly, just a cartoonish art style.
Yeah, so I pinned it in our chat here for all our patrons. And in the first game, just looks like an ogre. Kind of looks like the ones from that, was it Middle Earth, the video game? Kind of like a realistic style. Kind of looks cool. Even the second one, Dark Age Inquisition. Actually, that was the third one, I think. Yeah, but now, it just looks like a fucking Fortnite character. I don't know why they decided to go down this route. And I suspect it's because all these companies are now full of people who just... It's not about the arts. They just make every decision based on some sales figure in Fortnite, unfortunately.
Yeah, except what I don't understand is that BioWare here has like their entire existence riding on this game, given 10 years of shitty releases. Why the fuck would you like shit on the what people want from the franchise, basically, that you're making, like what people understand and appreciate about the previous games? Why would you then go for an enormous tone shift when you're in like the most precarious situation possible?
They don't want us. They don't want us, bro. That's all I realize now about gaming these days is they don't want people like me. They don't want our business, which is fine. I mean, nobody has to.
I mean, but BioWare should, because it's much harder to attract a new audience than it is to, you know, keep the old ones coming back. The people that were already buying Dragon Age.
That's not true. There's tons of young people. They have to play something.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be Dragon Age Veilguard, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you don't know yet.
In what world is like a 10-year-old Zoomer going to pick up Dragon Age Veilguard? Like, that's not going to happen. Unless there's like a...
I don't know, but this is clearly, like, there has to be some logical connection, because I'm assuming that this company isn't just run by a bunch of penguins with keyboards, right? So what was the reason to say, hey, all of you guys who liked Dragon Age Origins, fuck you, jump off a cliff. We're gonna pander to the Roblox audience or whatever the fuck this is supposed to court. With like short attention spans and just the TikTok brain kids.
Yeah, I don't really know either. There has to be some kind of data at these companies that we just don't see, but whoever's giving them that data is constantly wrong. Like, these things perpetually flop. Like, I don't know what data they're looking at, but they've got to abandon it.
It's literally like, this time it'll work. Like,
yeah,
that's all it is. It's like, this time it'll work. 4 flops and a win. That's all we need.
Yeah, they can't look at industry trends and notice that for every one breakout fucking, I don't know how to describe it, industry style of Fortnite, the other successes are the hundreds of passion project games, like small indie games and games that work and people want to make and make well, not shit like this.
It wouldn't be so bad if the style itself wasn't so like just generic, and since we're seeing it across the board in so many different games, it's so annoying to me, because it's like that, what was that trend of like graphic design, Globo Homo, right?
Globo Homo, yeah.
That's still around.
It's still, I mean, yeah, everywhere. Look at your Google Drive now. They still use Globo Homo all over it. It's terrible.
Every brand uses it, and it's just become so hard. Well, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like glue, basically. It's just so tasteless and just empty and vapid, and it's just across every single brand, so nothing really stands out. Yep. And I feel like that's the same with this art style. Like, I could, if you were to show me a picture of Dragon Age the Veilguard and then show me like the new Fortnite season and then that game from Sony that's called like Concord and a bunch of other games, I wouldn't be able to like distinguish between them, probably, just in a vacuum, because they all look so similar in terms of the art style and the, you know,
it's more than just the art style though. Graphics. There's plenty of other things to complain about too. So I'm rewatching the gameplay showcase right now. It looks so fucking boring. So it looks like they've simplified it even further. I remember Dragon Age was mainly like a lot of like tactical based combat for a little bit, and then they deviated, which a lot of people didn't like. Now there's nothing tactical. It's just spam light attack and dodge and nothing else.
Cool.
It just looks so boring.
Let's remember, we forget all too fondly of our own time, but one of the greatest eras of video games featured the lowest form of art creativity. So if we look at like the peak 360 era, with like Gears of War and Halo and all of them, so many games that came out then were brown, bloom, brown, no color, no art direction, make it realistic, make it gritty. Do you remember when that was the chief complaint for like 3 or 4 years in the game industry, where everything was brown and gross and lifeless? At the same time though, so many of those games are remembered fondly, including Assassin's Creed, another series that's kind of going down the what the fuck are they doing pipeline. And it's because they were good and memorable and fun to play. And yeah, the graphics were in this weird stumbling era of high fidelity, but they focused on the gameplay as well and churned out good products. Now, it's like, what are they trying to accomplish? Because graphics aren't going to get you there anymore. I guess that makes it okay to stop trying with the graphics, make it more cartoony because Fortnite's what's popular. Like, what kind of game are you making? You know, who's the product for?
If the argument is that games aren't interesting or doing interesting things gameplay-wise anymore, it's entirely because the AAA industry is unable to take risks because the entire, you know, their entire, I don't know, revenue is holed up in like these bets basically, and they need to be the safest bets possible. So
yeah.
When video game costs are getting so fucking high for these studios, then they just can't do interesting things because it's too scary for them.
It's too much money.
I mean, makes sense.
It's like Hollywood in a lot of cases where there's too much money involved, so they don't want to take a risk because they need guaranteed people to purchase the product.
Yeah.
It's so much wasted money and so much like bureaucracy. It's almost like the government now. Like Hollywood and game studios are just like the government. You know how in the government, if like you have a ribbon cutting ceremony, so you have to hire a guy to purchase the ribbon, a guy to make sure the ribbon is the right color, a third guy to make sure that the first two guys did their job right, a fourth guy to audit the first three guys, and then a fifth guy, and you just keep making up these bullshit jobs. I feel like that's just what we do with games now. Like, I just looked it up. BioWare had a couple dozen employees in 1998 when Baldur's Gate came out. Now they have hundreds. Which, like, what do they all do? Why does a game cost $500 million and then it still doesn't even look that good?
Not to mention the fucking consultancy groups that the developers pay as well. Like every game studio hires consultancy groups out of the arsehole for some fucking reason, even though they've got 1,000+ employees of their own. I mean, I think BioWare's only got 150, which is considered like small in current video game dev. But I mean, that's a massive amount.
I think part of the problem is we've reached diminished returns entirely on fidelity and presentation. So in that same era I was talking about, that era of Brown, at the same time they were pushing realism and graphical quality, and like games could literally sell themselves on, look how good this looks, look at this, is amazing. I think the culmination of that was, do you remember the Order 1886? The PlayStation 4 launch title that was only like 3 hours long, but it looked really, really good visually, so people bought it. So you had that whole era. You had all that going on. But now, what do we have out today that really makes waves? I'll give you a great example, and it's what I'm still playing, Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder is selling really well. People love it. It's getting incredible review scores, and for damn good reason. It is an incredibly fun and polished game. But it's a fucking wacky cartoon version of Mario. When he runs, his feet like do that really chaotic running animation, like a cartoon. He fucking drops his hat out of a pipe and picks it up, and it makes a boop noise. Like it's like a Saturday morning cartoon. It's not at all trying to be the realistic high fidelity like Wii Mario Galaxy eras that they tried to do back then. And yet it's amazing, and it's great. And other games are following that trend. And yet, the AAA industry is still stuck in this mindset of it has to be prettier. It has to look like a movie. It has to be a big presentation, a spectacle. Fuck the gameplay. Make a cool-looking movie. You know, and that's not what people want anymore.
There's an enormous difference between, like, art style and art, like, fidelity, basically. Like, how much polygon.
Yes, by fidelity, basically. I mean realistic, focusing on graphical quality, focusing on realism, rather than a lot of good games which just say, hey, we're not trying to be realistic. We have an art direction. We have a color palette, stuff like that, you know?
Well, Dragon Age is the one game where, like, a more realistic art style would have been appropriate, like the first game.
True.
Have it be realistic. I don't know why the cartoony graphics have to be forced into this franchise specifically. Or just make a new one. It's not as if people were itching sitting around like, new Dragon Age, please.
That's not true. People did want another Dragon Age. It's been a long time, and it was a franchise that was beloved. The problem is they just made a really not good-looking one. Yeah.
They wanted a Dragon Age Origins again, and we have never really gotten that ever again.
No, I don't think BioWare is capable of that again.
No, I don't think BioWare can make good games anymore. I truly don't.
Same with Mass Effect. We got 1 and 2, which were amazing, and then ever since 3, we just keep going, where's 1 and 2? Why didn't you make another one of those?
3 is great. 3 is great. I will die on this hill.
It was not
3
great.
was 95% of a good game.
It's just the ending, which, yes, is an important part, but still, all of that, everything up until that final part is like fantastic peak Mass Effect.
I still feel absolved because look at Andromeda. I mean, just look at everything that came from Andromeda from start to finish.
Andromeda was bad.
Yeah.
I am not going to defend Andromeda.
Yeah, it's hard to defend BioWare in the last decade. They haven't made anything good in like a decade.
It's hard to defend a studio that makes a character introduction cutscene where she steals a gun from a character and points it at him, and she's pointing it at him backwards. And they're trying to take it seriously. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
So there's a cutscene in Andromeda. I think it's when the Asari shows up, the Asari companion, and you're doing wacky, stupid bullshit hijinks like, oh, this is join my space crew, ha ha ha. And at one point she disarms someone and points a gun at them, but she's holding it backwards, so she's just pointing a gun at herself. But they didn't realize that was a problem. Like, they just flipped the model on accident, so the cutscene plays totally normally, and they put out a patch later to flip it the right way.
Yeah, it's not like a quirky thing where she made the mistake. It was an actual animator mistake.
Yep, and because she shoots it backwards, too. She fires it, and a bullet comes out of the end, not the muzzle. And they had to patch it to fix it.
That game was so fucking disappointing, man. So disappointing.
Yeah, I agree.
Jackson's original question, I do agree with you, though, that some developers are too revered. Like, I think if the Life is Strange developers made Death Stranding, it would be a very different tune than if Hideo Kojima made, because that guy specifically is so worshipped to the point of like. I mean, Jackson knows. I'm preaching to the choir with him, where he just makes documentaries for himself.
He does. He made a literal documentary for himself and called it like Connecting Worlds or something pretentious.
That's so good, though. I love that.
I think it's the same as the Ubisoft documentary, though. Or not documentary, Ubisoft game, though, where if they made Death Stranding, it would not be the same game. They would change the story and presentation to a huge degree. Like, you would not watch directed cutscenes. You would watch Norman Reedus stand there and then choose what line for him to say, and none of it matters if they made it.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying the identical game. It's like those wine tasting tests where rich people really, like 99% of them cannot tell cheap wine apart from good wine. I think if you like hit the label or hit the credits and said, yeah, this is Death Stranding, it was made by David Cage. I think most people would say, this game sucks balls. They would say, fuck this. Delete this off my hard drive. But it's Kojima, so it's like almost a taboo to dislike it.
Or the inverse. If you put what was the fucking robot game called again by David Cage?
Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, if you put Detroit Become Human by Hideo Kojima, that would have won Game of the Year guaranteed. Like, people would have fucking blown their lid up at that game.
They would be frothing at the mouth to defend it.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I find it funny. I do find it funny mostly that Kojima is on this whole, I don't know, different level of video game. He's literally God in the video game industry. And every single time Jeff Keighley gets on stage and makes a big deal about his friend Kojima showing up or something like that, I just instinctively roll my eyes, because it's just, I don't like that level of worship.
Me neither, man. It's not just video games either, because he reviews a lot of movies on his Twitter, and it's like, if you say that you didn't like movie fill in the blank, somebody will inevitably chime in about, yeah, but Hideo Kojima saw it 4 times. Okay.
Yeah, he's also.
What kind of argument is this?
I haven't seen anyone say that. I just see like, oh, Hideo Kojima just reviewed this, and it's usually like a sentence. It's like he's spoken.
Yeah, like a decree from the Pope. Okay, well, I have different tastes. What? I don't know what this argument is here. Like, you may not disagree. No, child, you can't not like this movie. Hideo Kojima liked it.
The prophet has said otherwise. I do find it hilarious that like 99% of his posts now are just either the movie reviews, or it's just him hanging out with celebrities, random celebrities that come to his studio. It's like look at my friends, basically. Look at who I'm hanging out with. I love it.
That's true. I mean, how objective can you really be when you're like friends with half of Hollywood? That's the other issue. Anyway, I don't wish him ill, so make more games. No. It's good. I don't know.
I'm down for more.
I'm not getting another Dragon Age. I've come to peace with that.
Oh, dude, Kojima made Dragon Age would be sick though. I'd be down for that just to see what happens.
I mean, for all the cocksucking he gets, it's pretty deserved. I don't think Hideo's ever made a bad game. I think every game he's ever
Death
made.
Stranding's here.
No,
I love Death Stranding. I love it.
Fucking super sucks.
If
they just took out the gameplay, I'd love it as a movie. But that gameplay, if you can even call it that, is unforgivable.
Loved everything about it. I will defend it until I die. Had a great enthralling time playing it. Not even kidding.
Yeah, tripping over a rock for the 50th time and slowly picking up your packages again as you go across the landscape of an Amazon worker delivery route.
Yeah, grabbing the PS5 controller and noticing the haptic feedback as I piss and it slowly trickles a rumble out. Oh. Such a good game.
That's what I play gaming for. Piss haptic feedback. Thanks, Kojima.
Kojima's a genius.
Death Stranding 2's coming, though. You better get ready.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's going to be amazing, like the first game.
What? Are you just going to watch the movie version of it, or are you actually going to play it?
No, I'm going to play it.
But you already know that it's probably going to be as equally boring in terms of gameplay, right?
I actually don't think it will. I have a hunch because I know that what they did with Death Stranding recently, like over the last few years, is they made that like new version of it. And apparently they put more emphasis on like fun gameplay. So like action-oriented gameplay. Like it's
what a novel concept.
Now. Yeah, I know. They figured it out.
Look at Kojima innovating yet again.
I can't believe it. He thought of fun. No one's ever done that before.
Kojima
He's a visionary.
Fun. I'll corroborate what Charlie's saying, though. I only played the director's cut. I didn't play the original, so maybe I did get a better version. You know, maybe we might meet in the middle if you played the director's cut and say, "Oh, this actually is good. They did make this fun." Because I remember it being fun.
Possible.
Yeah, I remember it just being genuinely fun. Having said that, though, if you look at the trailers and promotional media for 2, it seems like they've added a lot more action. Like there's a lot more happening in the story rather than focusing on... The first game to me focused a lot on the world, the landscape, the places you travel, traversal. Here's all the systems like, oh, manage your health and your pissing and your baby and your equipment and your destination and your map. It was all a management game. It's all like a survival game. Whereas the second game, I mean, the first fucking trailer is an electric guitar samurai fighting a giant robot. You know, I think he's going back to his roots, which is all good. I'm okay with that, you know. So we'll see.
Do you think Kojima would be as beloved now if he introduced a character like, what was that Metal Gear Solid character? It was like Whisper, who she breathes through her skin, so she has to be naked. Quiet. Yeah, quiet. So she's naked all the time. Do you think that he would get like criticized online for that if his next game has a, you know, stereotypically sexy woman?
Yeah, from the usual suspects, not as fans.
Yeah, I'm going to say not in the slightest, because you forget this is a guy who had a main character named Hot Cold Man as a villain in a game. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he can do whatever he wants and no one will care. They'll expect it.
I don't know. The media is different now. The media worships him, but I feel like if something like that happened now, there would be articles about it.
It would be awkward.
Oh no,
I suppose.
not articles.
Oh
no.
Damn, Kotaku spoke out. They rarely ever do that. Oh shit.
Fuck.
But that's my point. That's my point, though. That does slowly over time, like, change perceptions of people. Like, eventually he might become a David Cage because he's putting too many sexy women in his game.
No, but you're Jackson, you're conflating the media with his fans. Like, his fans wouldn't care. Gamers wouldn't care.
No, I know
his
fans wouldn't care.
Just
David
Kotaku
Cage still has
that would
fans as
care,
well. I'm just saying, like, so his fans wouldn't care. I know that because his fans, you know, are people like Andrew who enjoy the piss mechanics and like sexy women and the Kojima-isms. So they know what they're getting into. Yeah. But it's the parasites in games journalism that don't care. And then they'll
they're ankle biters. Like,
it won't be that same level of like worship publicly in terms of like from the media, because the media is like a big proponent of Kojima worship. Like you got Jeff Keighley and such. But maybe eventually Jeff Keighley won't be able to invite Kojima onto the show because Kotaku editor number 364 said that quiet is too sexy for the video game industry.
I think the opposite is happening, where Kojima is grandfathered in and has so much sway that even if that stuff happened, no one would give a fuck. It would take an actual canceling or some scandal for him to be taken down by this point.
He probably, good point. He's probably friends with whoever owns Kotaku anyway.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, he could have that guy fired.
That's my point. Like, I think there is a future where he does do the traditional Kojima thing and then the media turns on him. I do think that's possible. I do think it's possible.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. It's actually likely, I'd say, in video games.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I could see it being, Jackson? I would see Kojima doing a rape scene in a video game and taking it way too far.
Jesus, what the fuck?
Oh, you laugh.
Why a rape scene?
You laugh, but in Metal Gear Solid 5, a character canonically has a bomb put in her vagina and it blows up and kills her. He would absolutely do it.
Why?
I could because it's part of the story. She gets tortured in a prison camp, and then to try to kill Big Boss, they shove a bomb in her vagina and send her back and be like, okay, prisoner exchange. And it turns out there's a bomb in her vagina. And it ties into a lot of the narrative themes of the characters and what happens in the plot. But I could absolutely see him doing a shocking scene like that and pushing it way too far.
Wait, what is the character theme of bomb in vagina? Like, what is the character theme that they were going for there?
You can't trust anyone.
That's right, and women
you can't
have
trust vaginas.
Women have more hiding places than men. That's the secret to the whole game. No. Even though that's a joke. So that's a joke in the first Metal Gear Solid. Women have more hiding places than men. But in not Phantom Pain, the precursor, Ground Zeroes. In Ground Zeroes, 2 of your comrades are captured, and you can find tapes based on like what happened while they were at the prison camp before you rescue them. And they're basically both tortured and sexually assaulted. And the whole meaning of it is like, it's a way that he forces your male comrade to degrade himself and degrade the female comrade is by putting a bomb in her vagina to be like, it's a present for the boss. And like the guy who did it is taunting and a fucking asshole. And then they send her back to try to like blow up the helicopter. So it's
it's a way to make the antagonist extremely unlikable. Then,
yeah, like, and it ties
doing
into
the most gratuitous thing.
It ties into a larger picture of like conversations they have and themes of the game. And keep in mind, this is told through audio logs, so it's long and very Kojima dialogue exposition explaining everything. But it's not out of nowhere. I will say it fits what happens in the plot. It's extreme, but it makes sense. It's not like, wow, that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't like bomb vagina man put a bomb in my vagina.
Which would be brilliant, of course.
Bomb vagina man in it. Oh, yeah. But I think that's what would get him canceled. He goes too far in the pursuit of making things cinematic or dark or edgy, and people just don't accept it and say, oh, that's too much, Kojima. You did a bad thing.
But usually I err on the side of let artists push the line, let artists do what they want to do. But putting a bomb in the vagina is a head scratcher for me. That might be an interesting play that I might be like,
you don't get it.
That's weird.
You just don't get it, Jackson.
I guess I don't get it.
Yeah. Bomb vagina.
Well, I don't think that would fly. I don't think that would fly in the current era. Okay, I don't think bombs and vaginas would fly in the current video games industry. I think he would be criticized for that.
Here's what I'll say for your point. I don't think it would fly with a Western dev. I think him being Japanese gives him a lot more leeway, but if that happened at the time and he was in a Western development studio, I'll bet there would have been a lot of problems.
Well, yeah, again, we go back to the Ubisoft argument. If Ubisoft put a character with a bomb in their vagina in the video game, like the next Assassin's Creed game, there would be articles about it. Mostly, I think, because Ubisoft has, a history of sexual harassment in their offices and stuff like that. So they're not the best people to be, pushing the line for things like this. But also just because I think that Western game studios are scrutinized way more in the media and by audiences than Japanese game studios, which I don't think is bad or like there's no real point to it. It's just like it's something I do see. Like these Japanese game studios are idolized a lot more, and maybe it's because they just make good games. I don't know. I don't know why it is.
I would say
something I've noticed.
I would say it's half their product is consistently better, and half it's a totally different culture where you have Japanese sensibilities, Japanese companies. It's just,
you keep in mind it is much more difficult for Kotaku journals to like call a studio and try to get somebody fired in Japan.
Yeah.
Than it is to just call somebody at Ubisoft and get them in trouble with HR for posting something on Twitter or something.
Yeah, it's a fully
the same
different.
Methods don't really work.
It's a fully different culture there. A good example I can give while I was there that really blew my mind is there was a billboard in the middle of Shibuya, and it was this like cute girl wearing a police outfit, and it had Japanese text on it, and I got my friend to translate it, and it literally said, "If you're afraid, don't be afraid to call the police. We're here to help you. You can call us. It's okay." And it's because there's such a social stigma there of like, oh, if I call the police, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get involved. I might get in trouble for calling the cops on this illegal thing, so I'm just not going to call the cops. And it was just one example of how, you know, sensibilities there are completely different. As similar as we are with capitalism and modern culture and all the things that we share and import and export, there's still a lot of cultural differences on how people think. So I could totally see in Japan if Hideo, this artistic game designer, wants to make a really dark and edgy scene like that, people would go, oh, that's brilliant. That's shocking. Whereas over here, it would be, that's disgusting. That's sexist. You should be canceled. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Massive difference in sensibilities.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, a word from the sponsor of this episode.
Oh, sorry. I just had to put down that gigantic weight that I was holding to do this next ad read, because this ad read is for Fitbod. There's a lot of gym essentials that most people are going to take to their workout spot of choice. Headphones, a favorite water bottle, a knee brace. It really doesn't matter what you're taking, because if you're not taking the Fitbod app, you are missing out on the best workout you could possibly get. Fitbod is a customized workout based on your goals, all within a convenient app that lets you change it however you want. Swap exercises all around based on what you want to be working that day, or based on maybe your injuries or performance, and get recommendations on everything that's going to work good for you. They consider your equipment, your skill level, and your time frame. Whether you got 10 minutes or 2 hours, Fitbod is going to help you get the best workout that you can. Want to learn how to do the right movements the right ways? Well, 1,000 demonstration videos are certainly going to get you there. Why pay for an expensive personal trainer when you can just sign up for the cheaper and easier option of a completely custom-built fitness plan with Fitbod? In fact, they'll even track your muscle recovery and make sure to adapt to your muscle growth. Add Fitbod to your workout essentials. Join Fitbod today to get your personalized workout plan. Get 25% off your subscription or try the app for free at fitbod.me/official. That's fitbod.me/official to get 25% off of your subscription or try it for free.
So, Charlie, you missed, I think, an episode 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I want to fill you in on what happened. Are you there? Are you still there?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I can't see you, so I'm making sure. Sometimes you sneak off to the toilet. So there was an idea floating around because of a topic that I brought up for episode 400. I think I'm going to go to a thing called the Inner Sanctum.
Don't spoil it.
Wait, don't
Jackson,
spoil it?
you fuck!
We already said on the episode that I was going to do it.
Well, it's too late now.
Edit that out.
I just
Bleep
wanted
it
to
out.
Floated the idea.
If you're in Patreon chat, you are bound to secrecy. Do not tell anyone what's going to happen. God damn it. Why would you say that?
Do I have to film in there?
You have to do something. You have to take notes. You have to be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look on my stuff afterward.
Put a camera in your vagina.
Go on. So,
I can't talk about it now. I guess it's a surprise for you as well. It's a surprise for you as well now.
Everybody knows now. You might as well.
Okay, so are we bleeping it out or not? If you want me to talk about it, I'll talk about it.
I want you to talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, go
So I've been going to a lot of like sports ball games recently, just because it's fun and it's something to do. Mm-hmm. Just like, games at the stadium. And there's like a membership option for the stadium called the Inner Sanctum, where you pay $200 a match, and the entire thing is you go into this room called the Inner Sanctum, and it's just their locker room with one-way glass, so you just get to watch them in the locker room in between the match. Like the players in between the match or before the match. So you just get to watch them like training before the match, or, getting ready for the match, like showering. So I don't know if you see them showering or not, but yeah, you're just standing behind one-way glass watching them like it's a zoo. So I'm going to do it for episode 400. I'm going to go look at some big, strong men getting ready for their upcoming match.
You'll need a notepad. I would imagine they do the thing where, like, during shows where they lock your phone into a little thing, into a baggie so you can't film.
I thought that as well, but apparently, like, in the pictures and stuff I've seen of it, people are just in there filming. So people are taking, like, pictures and photos in there. So
like
I should
an
be
actual
able to
zoo.
film. Yeah, it is actually like a zoo. It's so the promo pictures I saw, it's like this small little like dungeon room with one-way glass, and it was just a bunch of women like up against the windows just staring at the men on the other side.
How much is it to join the Inner Sanctum, the fucking Hustlers University Sports Club?
$200.
That's not bad at all, actually. To see that kind of high quality action.
It's
even less because that's Australian, so it's like 150 US.
Oh, what a steal!
Oh, that's like nothing. Hey, you guys, a sports league are a joke. Imagine if, like, how much would people pay to see Tom Brady shower?
Oh wow, yeah, that'd be tons.
Mm-hmm. Jackson, you're going alone, right? You're not bringing anyone, right?
No, I'm taking my partner.
No,
she wants
you're
to
supposed
see.
to go alone to seem like a weird, creepy loner. Oh my god!
I wasn't even here for this. I wasn't even here for this, and I know you just fucked up. You're bringing a girl to the Inner Sanctum? Are you out of your mind?
know.
You're supposed to go there alone so you can hang out with all the cougars thirsty for fucking sports cock.
That's what we were talking about in the other episode, Charlie. We were wondering if it's just entirely men down there, like other men looking at like naked men showering. Like
it absolutely is, spouting stats back and forth. Like, well, actually, did you know that Brad Buster is 3 and 5 when he takes a shower and puts a soap bar in his butt? That's absolutely what it is.
Yeah. I don't know. It's either that or it is just like women, going down there to get turned on by looking at big, strong men.
Man, the way he eats that granola bar reminds me of the 1996 run. Classic.
Man, I wanted you to go alone and just silently stare in there and say nothing. It would have been amazing.
No, you should take notes. You should bring a clipboard and take notes like you're scouting.
Scouting? Why would a scout go to the Inner Sanctum instead of just watching them on the field?
For his
you've got to make sure that their shower game is on point.
You analyze their weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You can make it work. That's for you to figure out in the Inner Sanctum. I don't know.
Number 7's got a bad skin rash. He's off the list. He's not going to be playing for us.
I think this will be a regular thing, and you'll love it, and you'll do it like once a month.
Oh yeah, I'm going to keep going back for more. I got to see how their shower game improves over the season.
Exactly.
See what tactics they bring into the locker room. I wonder, like, what would happen if it starts getting really rambunctious in the Inner Sanctum and people start like slamming on the mirror, like the one-way glass. The players are just freaked out. I wonder if the players like even know that there's people on the other side. Like if they've been told and warned that there's people on the other side watching you like it's a fucking zoo. Like I couldn't. This is meant to be like the area or the period of time on match day where like the players are meant to be like relaxing, psyching themselves up before the game. How are they able to do that when they know that there's like a bunch of like horny dudes on the other side of the mirror watching them at every step? Like I wouldn't be able to do that at all.
Oh, that's why you're not a professional athlete, and it's the only reason you're not a professional athlete.
You're missing that key ingredient. It's your chemical X.
Mm-hmm.
So funny though. It seems like something so like that wouldn't fly anywhere. Like if it was a women's sports team, imagine if it was a women's sports team. There's no way that would be allowed.
Well, no shit. Yeah, obviously.
Well, it would never happen either because men don't watch women's sports. They can't rattle off stats about that kind of locker room.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason you go down.
That'd be the only reason they go. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway, that's what I'll be doing for episode 400. You guys have to do something for episode 400 as well. It can't just be me.
Nah, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do it. We'll talk about your thing.
Yeah, you're kind of stealing the show.
Yeah. So wait, are you going to report to us live from there, or like do it and then come back and do the show?
I take my entire podcast setup down there. I record live from the inner sanctum.
That'd be so cool, actually, if you did that.
Yeah. How far ahead do you have it scheduled?
Well, it's not like I control the time the inner sanctum opens, Andrew. I can't like set it up for podcast recording time. It's like 3 a.m. for when we record, so the inner sanctum's closed at that time.
No, the inner sanctum never closes.
Only the inner sanctum physically closes, but the one mentally is never closed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The inner sanctum is a state of mind.
No, I think we'll have a whole episode based off that. There's plenty to talk about that.
Well, I'm going to go over like the actual experience.
Especially when you see like the crazy discoveries that no one else has ever seen.
You have to spend all episode convincing us to go, and it's life-changing.
The players start like rubbing up against each other and stuff. Turns into a really like erotic show.
What if it is just gay sex? Just no frills, no surprises. They just start fucking each other for your amusement.
Damn, that would be crazy, wouldn't it, Jackson?
All the women go wild.
That'd make Jackson want to go even more. 2 tickets. 3.
Jackson turned to his girlfriend like, I swear I didn't know this was going to happen. Anyway, give me the camera.
I didn't know this was going to happen, but it's kind of cool, right? It's pretty awesome that this started happening, right?
We should come back.
Are we both having fun?
If you want the season pass, it's on sale now. It's 25%
off. Can I meet them in person?
Wait, they're beckoning me. They're calling me in. I have to go. I'm sorry. I've been chosen.
I would curse the one-way glass that divided us.
No, you wouldn't. You'd be in ecstasy and you know it. Don't lie.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I can't see you, so you can relax. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like a jerking off chair down there or something.
A jerk area, yeah. You get a little blanket, cover yourself.
Corner. The corner that's full of splooge.
Oh, God.
There's just one like you go down into the inner sanctum and it's just one lonely janitor mopping up cum basically.
Oh, Jackson, you really did fuck up bringing your girlfriend. What if you picked a day where no one else went and it was just you in that room watching them?
Oh my God, it could be a one-on-one session.
Ooh. That would have been amazing.
What do you mean? What? It's one-way glass. They can't see me,
but you can feel their presence.
Well, imagine they call out to you. They're like, Jackson.
Yeah.
I know you're behind the glass.
What if someone accidentally flips the switch and it turns 2-way and they all just see that it's just you in a room staring at them?
What if I walk down there and they accidentally reverse the one-way glass and I just see a mirror of myself?
You're just waiting for the show to start and they're all staring at you, watching you.
I can't see through. I'm just confused. Like, why did I pay to come down here for a mirror?
Oh, this is going to be good.
I don't know that there's a team of big, strong men on the other side jerking off to me.
But it's still the thought of it is making you horny.
Just the idea is enough for Jackson to get by.
They're here for me.
That's a perfect episode 400 if you ask me. I don't think we could ask for more.
What, me jerking off in the inner sanctum?
Well, that was a given.
Low bar.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going back to our roots.
I thought you get a kick out of it, Charlie. That's why I wanted to tell you, because the inner sanctum is just such a.
You're right.
It's like a cult. It sounds like a cult terminology, like the inner sanctum. I can't wait.
That's exciting. I think that's very exciting.
Do you think it's cool?
Cool's not the word I'd use for
it. You sound so desperate.
Are you going to ask him if you can go? Are you going to ask him for money for tickets?
Yeah, I'd say at best I find it interesting.
Yeah.
Can I go for episode 401? Can we do like a weekly thing? Like maybe,
yeah, just go every week.
Big milestones every
just
every
go
episode.
Every
just move into the Sanctum.
Yeah, here. I'm sending you a picture of the inner sanctum and watch. I mean, look, it's just like it's just pictures of like a bunch of dudes just like with beer staring through the one-way glass. I don't think there's any players in there right now in the zoo paddock. I'll get the editor to put these pictures on screen as well.
Oh, it's just a little gym basically with like a whiteboard, I guess, for them to strategize. I don't think you see them in the shower.
Oh, you're there.
No.
I guess you're gonna be seeing them like stretch and stuff.
Yeah,
Wait, this is so cute.
Up.
They have their own dress code here. It's neat casual, so you can't wear thongs, gym wear, beach wear, or offensive images and revealing clothing.
That is 100% so dudes don't stealthily jerk off in the inner sanctum.
It's just like why make it one-way glass? That's my thing. If it's just watching the players like warming up in the gym, why make it one-way glass?
Well, you don't want to be ogled.
Who in the fucking world would want to do this? Like unironically
Jackson.
go here and do this. Well, Jackson's doing it for the experience.
Somebody.
Yeah, I'm doing it
no,
for the
Jackson
experience.
doesn't like want to for the sake. Jackson's not going here because he's a huge fan of the fucking South Australian Dolphins or whatever. Like he's going there because he just wants to see what it's like.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for the Dolphins are my team, so you were wrong on that level. But I wouldn't go watch it's not that I want to. I wouldn't go watch them like working out, limbering up in the whatever it's called, changing room. Like that's not something that would interest me usually. It's just that this is such a fun gimmick right now.
Exactly.
Maybe it's such a great experience, and I meet like-minded friends down there, and we have a good time watching the players like stretching their muscles and stuff. That maybe I become a regular member and keep going down there. And
I think it's entirely possible.
This is a package for two types of people. It's either A, hero worship sports fans, like, oh my god, there's Beef Peterson. Oh, he got this many points. Look, son, don't bother him, but watch him stretch. Or B, it's desperate cougars going, I like to watch the players stretch. I want to see them, take their shirt off. Woo! Gonna get a Mai Tai while I watch the inner sanctum. That's the only two types of people I could ever think going to this.
That's so true, actually, though. You're right.
Also, my question is, of all the hardcore animals you guys have on that continent, you decided to go with the dolphins for your sports team? Like, that doesn't sound intimidating at all. How are they? Well, you might as well be named the baby koalas. Like, it doesn't intimidate anybody.
Well, what hardcore?
I mean, I don't know. Name yourself after a poisonous spider or something. The box jellyfish is better.
Be the fucking dingoes,
blue ring
man.
octopi.
Yeah.
The blue ring octopi.
Be the chicken parmies.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
So many options.
You could be the gibby gibby plants.
the team that I used to support growing up was called the Parramatta Eels. So that's kind of cool.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Are they like poisonous?
Is that better? Eels over dolphins?
Yeah, eels at least kind of look gross.
Yeah, true.
They're scarier.
There's no like I'm going through the list. There's no real like big scary animal names for the teams. There is the tigers, I guess that counts. The dragons. But then we got like the rabbits, the cowboys.
The rabbits?
Yeah, there's a mix.
Why do you this is rugby, right? Or am I mixing up sports?
There's the roosters. Yeah, and by the way, this might be a controversial opinion, but I'm going to say it. Rugby league is like the funnest sport to watch by far. Like,
well, that's where I'm getting fucked up, because so rugby is like your version of American football. It's big, huge dudes moving a ball down the line. But over here, our team names are like the Colts, the Cowboys, the Patriots. Meanwhile, over at your place, you have the Rabbits, the Eels. It's like,
Well, we've also got things like the Sharks and the
okay, that's
Sea
better.
Eagles and the Storm and the
Those
Knights.
are good, yeah. But then you have like then you have like the apologists. You have like the kissy boys. It's like they're not great names.
The silly nannies.
The silly nannies. The whooper snooches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to my controversial opinion though. I think the NRL, the rugby league, is like it's basically like your whatever you call it, gridiron, I think it's called. Whatever the NFL is called. I don't know. What's it called? I don't know. Is it gridiron?
Yeah, it's gridiron.
Yeah, we'll take it. Yeah.
What is it called? What is it
What
called?
are you asking?
What is it actually called?
What?
Like, what's it called? What do you call it
What,
on a day-to-day
what is
basis?
it?
Gridiron. Like, what do you call gridiron on a day-to-day basis?
The gridiron. What are you trying to say?
What do you, I actually don't know what you're trying to say anymore. I thought you were making a joke, but now it seems like it's serious. What are you asking?
Well, I don't hear people refer to it as gridiron.
The gridiron.
All the
What
time.
do you call it? The gridiron. It's called the gridiron. What do you call it?
Do you call it football? Do you call it football?
Field?
What do you call it?
No, we call it football, Jackson.
We call it
Okay,
the
it's
football field, also known as the gridiron.
Wait. No, the gridiron is just like a fun little nickname we give to it, like we're out on like playing on the gridiron type shit.
Yeah.
Like no one. The sport is football, Jackson. No one says, are you watching the gridiron game this
Okay,
Sunday?
yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's the only name that was coming to my mind for some reason. I wanted to know what you actually
couldn't
call
remember
it.
the
on a
name.
day-to-day
You were thinking
basis.
gridiron instead of football?
Yes, I don't know.
Oh
You need to go back to the inner sanctum and brush up on your skills, man.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, the inner sanctum took your soul.
Hey, it's not.
changed.
It's your sport. You don't know anything about my sports. I don't know anything about
I know
your
about
sports.
rugby.
That's how it
What are you
works.
talking about?
Even if you didn't know our sport, Jackson, football is the most popular word on the planet, I would imagine. That's up there with the word the. It's
There's
so
actually-
fucking huge.
It's so big, there's two sports named football, and they're both
Exactly.
very popular.
You could have fired from the hip with football and got it.
That's what my point. Like, football refers to like pretty much any sport in that kind of caliber. So I didn't know if like you would have understood what I was talking about. Regardless, rugby league is better than gridiron or football, American
Oh my
football.
God.
It is. It is.
Jackson,
You guys wear
the full name of the sport is rugby football.
which part? Which one?
That's the full name. It's called rugby football.
Part?
It's a rugby football league.
What, mine or yours?
Yours.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
I am having a stroke now. Jesus.
Oh, fuck. Also, why can't we have both? Rugby and football are good sports. They're both cool. I don't know what the problem is.
I'm saying rugby is better than football. I'm
Why?
saying you guys, because I don't know. It's just I feel like your football is much slower. You guys need to watch
It
a
is a
rugby
little
league
slow.
match. I feel like you would immediately understand where I'm coming from.
I like
You
rugby.
should watch it.
What do you mean? I've seen rugby matches. They're cool. I like both. They're fun.
No, they are cool.
No, you've probably seen rugby union, which is cool as well. But watch rugby
I
league.
watched Thor Bjornstein's team play when I heard that he was on a rugby team, and it was cool. It was exciting.
That
Not in
was probably
person, but
union.
you know.
Is that in America? Do you guys do rugby in America as well?
We have leagues. It's just not nearly as popular as regular football.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just like
probably.
it's like a tier 3 sport here.
Yeah.
It's so strange because I feel like it should be bigger in
Yeah.
America because it's way more visceral. Like the hits are insane. So much so that the league is undergoing massive lawsuits at the moment because every player that leaves has had CTE and brain injuries from.
Why,
that
that same
sounds
is
like
true in
football.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And American football has the
Okay.
historical precedent. Like, it's our game. We fucking invented it. It's called American
Yeah, yeah.
football.
Yeah, but so the football over there, Kai, also has the same issue. But they're like wearing like massive like protective gear and stuff. In rugby league, you wear nothing, and it's just like shoulders to the heads, basically straight away. It's just
But
like
isn't
enormous
protective gear,
damage.
doesn't that mean you can run into somebody way faster? Isn't that
Yeah.
like how they say
That's actually a
wearing
huge
gloves
debate.
during
Yeah.
boxing?
It has a dubious
Like wearing
amount.
gloves during boxing makes you hit harder.
Yeah. It's got a dubious effect on what it does. So, yeah, it's not that clear cut, Jackson. It could be. It's actually making
Yeah,
it worse.
I don't know if that's a myth or not, but kind of makes sense. I mean, if you're
It could
padded,
make it worse. in the concept that Kai was talking about, where when you're wearing protective armor, you feel more protected, so you run faster, so the hits are bigger. Maybe I could see that potentially being a thing. But like watching rugby league, like they're not like slowing down or anything into the hits. They're enormous fucking hits. Some player just cool. Like this last week was knocked out on the field for like 2 minutes from the shoulder to the head. It was insane.
So who would win if you put up a American football team all padded against your rugby players?
I feel like rugby league players would win. And it's kind of insane because we go back 20...
one of these guys is like literally armored, running into an undefended body. You think they're gonna fare well?
No, I thought you meant like both unarmored, just like taking the athletes.
I've also got bad
sport.
news for you, Jackson. Football players, I think, are the most freakish athletes on the planet, and it's not close.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, there's something different over in America because like your athletes are like enormous, like actual monsters. So it's possible.
Our defensive linemen get over 300 pounds, and I always use this example. Julius Peppers for the Panthers back in the day, he was like 310 and ran a 4.5 40. And he had like a 40-inch vertical. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. And that's not even abnormal.
My favorite part about American sports is, I don't watch any of it, but sometimes I catch the news, and it's because drugs are officially banned and you can't just like give people steroids. What they do instead is they just seek out genetic mutants, like literal fucking X-Men. And the NBA is famous for this, where I usually see like, they'll have a guy who's 14 years old and 8 feet tall or something, a little fucking ogre, just dunking over all the other guys who are like 6 and 7 feet. But it's legal because, you know, he was just born that way, and just, it's kind of amazing. Like, yeah, have all these genetic abnormalities play against each other. It's fun.
Unbelievable. I think on the planet, there is no one pound for pound more athletic than football players. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, they're actually insane. But then, like, I mean, Brady is like super fit, but he's not like a monster. So there are players.
That and kicker are the only two positions where you probably, and even in quarterback, you see some absolute fucking freak athletes.
Monsters,
but kicker and quarterback are the only two positions in football where you'll have people that aren't unbelievably athletic. Even offensive linemen who sometimes push 400 pounds, even they are extremely athletic with like a high vertical leap, pretty fast dash times. Like, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Yeah. Did you guys go through a similar period to what rugby league went through over here? Because when the sport was like first starting, or even like its first 100 years, up until like 1990, basically, the top athletes in the sports like were just the most normal looking dudes possible, just like the most, you know, generic guys that you would see like down at the local pub or something, just like kind of like skinny fat or just fat in general, just like people that don't even look like athletes really. But then past the 1990s, it became like this freakish like sport full of just like
sports,
monsters. Yeah,
because we just didn't have this much money in sports, and it became this thing where it's 110% has to be merits, and only the best of the best.
Yeah,
just
there's
it's
also
like people became more and more
trained
extreme.
from conception for this purpose.
So
basically.
we've had that for a while, and it's also just natural human evolution. One of the biggest examples I use for that, and all the time, if you compare the like 1950s gold medal gymnastics flip to the one of 2022, it's like, if you watch the 1950s footage, she runs up to the vault, does a half cartwheel, and bounces off of it and lands. And everyone goes, that's amazing, that's gold, that's 10 out of 10. Now, the current person jumps, does 2 pre-flips, bounds off of the vault, and does like 6 spinning flips in the air and lands. And that's the gold medal for that year. It's like over time, people just get better and better and better, and the competition gets better and better. And
we learn more about the human body too. Like different countries competing in the Olympics in the 70s is much different than today, where Russia has a method to train their athletes and America has a different method. Well, today we kind of know which one is actually better because we can just exchange science and stuff.
Yeah. Let's look at like basketball, for example. You have LeBron James and Michael Jordan. It's like Michael Jordan was a huge standout back in his day, but then you have LeBron James, and plenty of people argue, I think more so than not, that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. And it's like, you also have to factor in the fact that the league LeBron James is playing in now is a lot more competitive than the one Michael Jordan was in, as opposed to the league for the 1960s, as opposed to back then and then. It's always the standout top people who stand out, and they're always competing in a more competitive sport. So it's only going to get more and more freakishly monstrous players as the years go on in terms of everything, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah. Real quick, did you guys watch the clip that I posted? I'll post it again of the guy getting knocked out. It's fucking insane.
I'll watch it now. I guess.
Let's watch. Whee!
This is like back in high school, like when your friend sends you like sports biggest hit moment compilations. He did get knocked out, Jackson. That was a big hit.
Put it
You're
up on
right.
screen. Yeah.
Is he dead?
See, that's rugby league, boys. He might be. He's still out on the field. They got to wheel him down to the inner sanctum so that I can see next week.
You have to inspect the body before he's taken away.
Anyway, that's my stuff for this week. You guys go wild with whatever you want to talk about now.
There's nothing to feel strongly about. Andrew posted a funny news the other day.
Which
about
one?
A heat wave in Europe. It's happening again.
Yeah, it's happening.
Oh God, rest in peace. Yeah, it's
happening again.
If you'll recall, just to fill everybody in, last year there were many heat waves in Europe, and all the like nutcracker soldiers dressed up in the UK were passing out and stuff during ceremonies. Like we literally had video of them like killing over and having to be carried off the ceremony due to heat. And this news says, UK weather, 48-hour, 26 degrees Celsius heat wave to hit, and 5 English cities will be the hottest. So, for our American listeners, which is the majority of you, 26 degrees Celsius is, drumroll, 78 degrees Fahrenheit, which is such a nothing burger.
Oh, boy. So, yeah. So
it's like nothing.
The UK is being hit by this wonderful heat wave of 79 degrees. Meanwhile, I've pulled out my phone and I'm looking at the current weather right now, and we're not even in the hottest part of the day. It's 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's going to get up to 94. And
God, 85 is actually kind of pleasant too. That's like a nice day
pleasant.
here.
I would love to be in that weather. And also, I don't think the UK has as much humidity as Florida, which is another way that it's going to be nice and pleasant. But the argument people always make when this happens is it's acclimation, right? Oh, we're not used to this hot weather. Oh, we don't deal with it all the time, so it's a real sudden heat wave. Oh, we don't have AC and our houses are old and traditional and whatever. And my question is,
I fucking hate that argument too.
How are you not acclimated yet? You live in a first world rich country that can just install air conditioning. You're done.
And they just refuse to.
Okay, so you have to understand, as somebody who has lived in Europe, they get very, very angry at that. It's usually, well, I can't afford AC. Where am I supposed to get a unit? And it's not, they don't understand that you're not talking about individuals. But
right.
Like, generally, as a culture, it is the 21st century. Put this thing in every fucking home. What is wrong with you?
Exactly.
And what is wrong with them is that they're Europeans, man. Europeans as a continent, as a people, they don't invent anything. They don't innovate. They don't use technology. They just fucking sweat and die. Like a dog locked in a fucking car, and then they bitch about it, and they get all bitter and seething about Americans just living much more pleasant lives with AC.
It's just, it's insane.
So I always see the same thing come up as well, like how all of the houses are basically brick ovens, how it's made to just insulate you.
They're
designed
to trap heat. They are. Like,
I think that's just a fucking dog shit design, to be honest. Yeah. And I also, every single person I have ever known that has visited the UK has hated it. So like, it just seems like a terrible
Not just
place
the UK,
to live.
everywhere.
Well, yeah, it sucks now, but like during the winter, it's good. I assume like that's the entire purpose was to survive.
Yeah, but here's the beauty of air cons though is during the winter you would turn the heat on and it feels good.
Or
or
if your house is built to trap heat, even better, just turn the air conditioner off and your house might just be naturally a little warm.
God, that's so
I'll
smart.
tell you guys my experience. Remember, I lived in Germany up until a year and a half ago, and I lived in one of those apartments, very old-timey apartments, and I lived in the highest story. right under the roof.
penthouse.
And it would get so insanely hot inside, hotter than outside. It was literally colder in this under the scorching sun than it was in my apartment at the like peak of summer. And I bought myself a mobile AC unit, the kind where like it has little wheels on the bottom and it basically has a little hose where it excretes the hot air outside. You basically dangle it out the window. And every single person that has ever seen it has been like, why do you need that for? Oh, isn't that expensive? What's the point of that? And that is the European mindset. That's my point. Like, it's almost like you guys kind of deserve it at this point. Like, you're shunning technology so hard as just a spoiled brat thing to have. Okay, well, sweat, I guess.
It sounds like they just like the heat.
I think it's why
aren't they bitching about 26 degrees?
They don't like the heat, Jackson. Do you remember last time we talked about this devastating heat wave in the UK? There was the article about like band members of a marching band falling over from heat exhaustion and being carried out.
That was an actual heat wave, right? That was like 40 degrees or something, from what I remember.
Fuck no, that was still like 80. They was no. I think it was like 80.
They had a marathon in like 72-degree heat, and they were like, "We're gonna have to cancel it. This is inhumane conditions. This is unbearable. Why would we do this?" And it's like, meanwhile, in America, they run ultra marathons in the desert regularly, and everyone's like, "That was great. It's amazing. It's perfect." They're just babies, Jackson. They're just little babies.
Well, I'm a baby. I hate heat.
I mean, I do too, but I live in Florida. I hate the heat. You deal with it. Oh, well.
No, you deal with it by just simply using technology to survive.
My air conditioning
It would not be a fun life in Florida without AC, but everybody has AC in their cars and their homes and every single building that they visit, and it is livable.
Yeah.
It's fine. Like, people don't sweat to death.
How did cavemen used to live if like they didn't have
It was 30 degrees Celsius. I couldn't find the exact 30 degrees Celsius. So what's that, like 82? And the fucking marching band soldier falls
86.
over.
86.
Wait, but no, if 86. I'm assuming he was
30. No, wait, 30 is 86?
Yeah, I just plugged it in. It's 30. 30 C is 86 Fahrenheit. Which I mean, 30 degrees is a little hot, but not crazy.
Hot. That's warm. That's definitely warm.
Look, that is very hot, and keep in mind those guys are dressed up in multiple layers.
That's what I was gonna say.
That is true. That is true. They are in those big ass costumes.
That adds like another 15 degrees and just like insulation basically.
Well, to tie it into football, the fucking football mascots in Tampa do that every Sunday, baby. And it's fucking 99 degrees here.
Better than rugby yet again. Put another point on the board.
Do they have little like air conditioners in their suit or something? Like, how do they make that work?
I have no clue.
No, I think they actually do. Don't they have some sort of like tiny little venting unit on the really high end ones?
I think that's Disney.
It might be Disney. It might be Disney costumes. Yeah.
Yeah, and also expensive fursuits.
True.
I know the higher end fursuits have built-in ventilation and stuff, so they don't get all musky in there.
It's very, very smart.
Fumes out.
Maybe that's what the UK needs. Okay, if you guys don't want ACs, fursuits for everyone with built-in AC, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what to tell these people anymore. It's just they get so bitter and envious at Americans, and then it's always the excuses of, "Oh, you Americans don't understand. In the UK, our houses trap heat." It's like, that Americans have insulation too. This isn't a fucking concept that's foreign to Americans.
England is the kind of country where you could build a dome over the whole thing. And they'd be like, "Oh, thank God, you finally blocked out the sun. I can go back to living again. My life was stopped, but now that you did this, everything's back to normal." Like, they want the most direct caveman approach to solving problems beyond anything else.
I mean, air conditioning is a direct solution, though. Like, it's really direct. In fact, it was invented just for that.
Why are they making government mandates to install it in most infrastructure?
Right. Big thank you to anyone from Europe listening to the show.
Yeah, fuck you. Gonna do what we want. Suck my balls.
It is very bizarre because even in Turkey, we culturally have AC in many, many homes, even in Turkey. It's usually like a unit built into a side of a wall, and that just helps.
Yeah,
I don't know why Europeans are so averse to it.
There's plenty of old infrastructure here too that didn't have AC, and then they find a solution. You'll put a window unit in every unit or something. There is always a solution. If the UK's excuse is, well, we have old buildings, we don't want to mess with them. I get that. Historical preservation, fine. But there's modern technology, man. There's always going to be some way you can figure it out. We've done it. We have old buildings. They're still there.
Yeah. What about, speaking of technology, what about those little, like, handheld fan things that shoot water in your face? You could use that.
Oh, like at like theme parks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put personal misters in every single apartment. There, problem solved.
There you go.
Yeah, those help a lot. I have been through every point in the spectrum here, man. Like when I was in Turkey and whenever I didn't have access to an AC, okay, you get a fan and you wet a rag, you take a towel or something, you make it wet and you put it on your head or on your naked body and you have the fan blow on you and it helps a little bit. You just have to find ways, but you know, fuck it, it's the UK, you're Europe, you're supposed to have some, it is the 21st century, aren't you a first world country?
Oh, they're such
Make
babies.
This the default.
I just looked up the weather report, they're such babies. They only have 37% humidity. That is not that bad at all. That is
a dream
easily
day for
escapable in the shade. No problem.
You can't
That'd be
escape
so
it,
nice.
Andrew.
Oh.
It's the end of the UK as we know it.
Oh, thank God. Finally.
The UK probably saw like us, like Australia and like Florida complaining about the heat, and they just wanted to be included in it, basically. So they're like, yeah, it's pretty hot over here too. 24 degrees.
Oh, we're all suffering. Isn't that right, Florida and Australia? Ooh, it's
God,
so
this
hot.
climate change is really taking its toll on London.
I had to wear my less designer jeans because they were a thinner cut because it was so hot out. Ooh, God, we're all making sacrifices.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this episode on that note. I don't know what to say. Thank you for listening to the episode. Patreon.com/theofficialpodcast for bonus episodes, bonus content. The EDP episode of Criminally Stupid is going up today, and we'll have more Criminally Stupid over on the Patreon within about a week, so keep an eye out there. Red Thread's going good. Early access to content on the Patreon, patreon.com/theofficialpodcast. Thank you very much. I'll see you all in the Inner Sanctum soon. Everyone come visit if you're in Australia. We'll all go to the Inner Sanctum together. We'll take over. All right, thanks guys.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks, bye-bye.